Good afternoon. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez this morning announced 9 new measures aimed at stopping the genocide in Gaza. What Israel is doing is not defending itself, it is exterminating a defenseless population, Sanchez said in a televised address. He said that although his government has de facto been applying an export ban on weapons to Israel since 2023, they will now urgently legislate a permanent ban. Madrid will also prohibit ships transporting fuel to Israeli forces from using Spanish ports, and aircraft carrying defence material will be banned from Spanish airspace. Sanchez added that people directly involved in the genocide, violation of human rights and war crimes in Gaza will be prohibited from entering Spain. Other measures included banning imports from illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, limiting Spanish consular services to Spanish citizens living in the occupied territories to the bare minimum, and increasing Spain's presence in Rafah with additional troops and new joint projects with the Palestinian Authority to provide food and medicine. The government will also increase its contributions to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees by €10 million and commit $150 million in additional humanitarian aid for Gaza next year. We know these measures will not be enough to put an end to the war crimes, but we hope they serve to apply pressure to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people, Sanchez said. Meanwhile, pro-Palestine protesters continued to disrupt the La Vuelta a España cycle race yesterday, with activists calling for the Israel Premier Tech team's expulsion. The team is co-owned by Canadian-Israeli billionaire Sylvan Adams, a close ally of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Demonstrations have been ongoing since the race began on August 23rd. In the early part of the 15th stage yesterday in Galicia, a demonstrator entered the race route, leading to a crash involving 2 cyclists. Hackers also reportedly took over the race's communication system on Saturday, broadcasting pro-Palestinian messages and songs. Authorities said 10 people were detained for disrupting public order during protests held throughout the race. The BBVA Bank this morning formally launched its €14.8 billion hostile takeover bid for its smaller rival Sabadell. Combining the two lenders will create the second largest Spanish bank in terms of domestic assets, worth around €1 trillion. Sabadell shareholders have until October the 7th to tender their shares, according to the expected calendar, with the results of the offer expected by October 14th. Judging by the performance of both bank shares since the bid was first announced last April, investors seem to expect the BBVA will have to sweeten its offer. And 10 people were injured, with 2 in a serious condition after a coach overturned in Catalonia. The vehicle came off the C32 road, 53 kilometres northeast of Barcelona. 8 ambulances, 2 helicopters and several fire crews were deployed to the scene yesterday. There were 53 people on board the coach, and those hurt have been transferred to local hospitals. That's the latest from TRE. I'm Bob James.